Hello friends, I welcome you all to StudyIQ, India's largest online educational channel. My name is Dr. Mahipal Singh Rathod, and in this lecture I will be discussing Yugoslavia's history with you. We will discuss the following topics. Firstly, the formation of Yugoslavia, how it was formed due to the various events of 19th and 20th century, then the different ethnic groups of Yugoslavia, then its dissolution, and the dissolution was due to the various wars. They are called as the Yugoslav wars. They happened from 1991 to 1999. And finally, little bit about genocide and ethnic cleansing. What are the terms? What do they mean? We will discuss them. Before going into the details, let me tell you that StudyIQ has launched its pendrive and Android courses for UPSC IAS examination. So you can now prepare from your home for all the competitive exams of India like SSC, CGL, CHSL, the various bank exams, IBPS, and all the other government exams. For more details, you can visit our website studyiq.com or you can call on these numbers. This is a political map of Europe in 21st century. The erstwhile country of Yugoslavia existed in this region. So this is the Balkan Peninsula, or you can call it the southeastern part of Europe. This is the area where Yugoslavia was there, and we will be discussing mainly about this region. So let us zoom into it a bit. All the colorful countries that you see here were earlier part of Yugoslavia. They all formed Yugoslavia together. Right now, they are divided into the following countries. In the northernmost part, we have Slovenia, capital is Ljubljana. Then there is Croatia, capital is Zagreb. Then Bosnia and Herzegovina, capital is Sarajevo. Remember, in these countries, the written J is pronounced like Y. So it is not Sarajevo, it will be Sarajevo and Ljubljana. Alright. Then next is Montenegro, literally meaning the dark mountain. The capital here is Podgorica. Then there is Macedonia in the extreme south, capital is Skopje. And finally, Serbia. Serbia capital is Belgrade, and this Belgrade was earlier capital of entire Yugoslavia. So Belgrade is important, and Serbia has two autonomous provinces. The first autonomous province in the north is Vojvodina, and then in the south is Kosovo. So Kosovo is a semi-autonomous area right now. It has declared its independence in 2008, but some countries and mainly Serbia does not recognize as an independent region. Okay. So concentrate on the capitals and the names, because sometimes they can ask a question that which of the following countries are part of European Union. So now you have to tell me in the comment section which of these countries are today part of European Union, and maybe in the future many of the countries have also applied. So if they get EU membership, the questions can be asked on their capitals or the EU status. This is a physical map of the Balkan Peninsula. The light colored portion that you see in this map, that is the Balkan Peninsula. So it is surrounded by seas or water bodies on three sides. So in the west, we have the Adriatic Sea separating it from Italy. Then in the southwest, we have the Ionian Sea. Then in the southeast, we have the Aegean Sea. And in the extreme east, we have the Black Sea here. So these are the water bodies. Now, can you name this water body? This is the part where Asia and Europe are joined together. Now, apart from the countries that I discussed in the previous slide, the colored ones, the countries that were earlier part of Yugoslavia, there are few other countries that are part of the Balkan Peninsula, like Bulgaria, then we have Greece, then Albania, and some part of Romania as well. One important fact to remember here is that Turkey is situated not only in Asia, but some part of Turkey today is also on Europe. Okay, this is part of Turkey. So Turkey is a country that is situated on two continents, and the capital Istanbul is situated here at the junction of Europe and Asia. We have seen the geography. Now let us see who are the people living here. They are called Slavs, more specifically the southern Slavs, because the people who live in Russia, then the Central Europe, they are called as northern Slavs. So this is one ethnic group. Okay, the people living here in Yugoslavia and the Russia and Central Europe, they are together, they are called as Slavs. It is a race, it is an ethno-linguistic group. It is considered to be the largest ethno-linguistic group in Europe. They occupy Central Europe, Eastern Europe and Southeastern Europe. So the people living in Central and Eastern Europe are sometimes called as North Slavs because they are situated in the northern area geographically speaking, and these are situated here in the south, so they are called as Southern Slavs. They speak the various Slavic languages. Due to this ethnic linkage, Russia will always find an excuse to interfere in the affairs of these countries as well as Yugoslavia. If you remember, in the Ukraine conflict also, they said that we are all Slavs, we should live together, and the people of Slavic ethnicity should stick together, they should not go into NATO. So such kind of reasons were given by Russia during the Ukrainian crisis, Crimean crisis in 2014. Here also during the Yugoslav wars, they supported Serbia, and they have done this many times. Even in World War I, Russia supported Serbia, and this is the reason that they went to war. These Southern Slavs had always been at the crossroads of two large empires during the medieval history. The first one was Ottoman Empire, which ruled over Turkey and large parts of Mediterranean, and it had control over this region in Balkans. So a large part of the Balkans was under Ottoman Empire. Earlier they had rule even here in the north, but later, by the time 19th and 20th century had arrived, they controlled only this region. And the other kingdom was Austria-Hungary here in the north. So Austria-Hungary and Ottoman were the two empires. In between them are all these Slavic peoples. So half of them are living with Austria-Hungary, half of them are living under Ottoman Empire. But some of them got their independence by the early 20th century, like Bulgaria, Greece, Montenegro, Serbia. They achieved their independence. This is the Ottoman Empire. So initially it started from Anatolia, that is Turkey here, and slowly it captured entire Mediterranean coast. You can see all the light pink areas, they were once under the control of Ottoman Empire. But by 19th century, this kingdom had become very weak. It was sometimes called as the sick man of Europe because it was slowly decaying. You can see here some territories were taken over by other powerful colonial powers of Europe like France, then Italy, England, and these countries like Greece, they got their independence. And then Austria-Hungary empires, here they came up. So slowly this area of Ottoman Empire was shrinking, and before World War I, they were limited only to this dark colored area that you see here. This map shows the year in which all these areas got their independence. Not important for you, don't try to mug them up, no need. Just remember, Greece got its independence very early, okay, in 1829, and then slowly others also got it one by one. In the north, there was this kingdom of Austria-Hungary, and this is the limit of the Austria-Hungarian Empire in 1914, just before World War I. It was ruled by the House of Habsburgs, and World War I was started due to the assassination of one of the members of this Habsburg house. You have to tell me who was that person and where was he assassinated. Was it in Belgrade? Was it in Budapest? Was it in Sarajevo? I will give you just one hint. The person who assassinated that royal person of Austria-Hungarian Empire was a Serbian. He was a Serbian nationalist, and that group wanted that all the Slavic people should come together and make a new country called Yugoslavia. So there are two Balkan wars that we have to discuss. They broke out just before World War I. And one of the causes of World War I was this problem in the Balkans. You see, there is continuously some trouble going on. Some wars are there in the Balkan region. Why were these wars fought? The first Balkan War in 1912, it was fought by all this newly independent Balkan states. So Montenegro, Greece, Serbia and Bulgaria, who had achieved their independence from Ottoman, they all decided to attack Ottoman Empire and get the rest of the territories as well. So you can see this green colored area was still under the control of Ottoman Empire. But Serbia, Bulgaria and Greece, they attacked and they won in this war. They defeated the Ottoman Empire badly and they got all this territory. But only a few months later, Bulgaria fell foul of its allies. It was unhappy with the territories that were divided among the victors. And suddenly, Bulgaria started fighting against all its old friends like Serbia, Romania, Greece, Montenegro. So again, these countries attacked Bulgaria and it was defeated. And Ottoman Empire also took advantage of this situation. It also attacked Bulgaria, got some of its lost territories back. But ultimately, due to these Balkan wars, Ottoman Empire became very weak. It lost almost entire holdings of its land in Europe, and it was now restricted only to Anatolia. Austria-Hungary, which was a powerful empire, and it was not involved in this war, it was not a combatant, it was also weakened. Why? Because Serbia became very powerful, and now Serbian people were asking that all the southern Slavs should unite together. Austria-Hungarian Empire should also be disintegrated. Areas like Croatia that are part of Austria-Hungary, they should be given back to us. So this is the map after first Balkan War. You can see Bulgaria, Serbia, they are all very powerful. Greece, they had attacked and captured all the territory from Turkey. They had removed Ottoman Empire. I'm sorry, not Turkey. Ottoman Empire had been defeated here. Here also it should be Ottoman Empire. But after the second Balkan War, you can see Bulgaria, which had started fighting its old friends. Then everyone attacked Bulgaria, and you see the size difference here. Bulgaria has larger territory. Then it was later on divided among all these nations, then neighbors. And then Turkey also managed to get some of its territory back in Balkans. So this territory is still held by Turkey till today in 21st century. This trouble in Balkans was one of the causes of First World War. And as you might know that Austria-Hungary was one of the combatants. Even Ottoman Empire was one of the combatants. But they were both defeated, and subsequently all these territories were rearranged after World War I. So a new kingdom was formed. It was called the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes. Officially this name was changed in 1929 because everyone called it Yugoslavia, so the king also changed its official name. Remember, this was not a republic, this was not a democracy, it was a kingdom. Okay, there was a king which ruled over this kingdom. Now what was the rearrangement done? Earlier, the parts of Austro-Hungarian Empire, Slovenia, Croatia, Vojvodina, Bosnia and Herzegovina, they were taken away and they were joined by the kingdom of Serbia and Montenegro. Now Serbia was a powerful kingdom, it had its own army, and all these new territories that were carved out of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, they did not have their armies. So they asked the kingdom of Serbia that you also join us. You have an army and you are also Southern Slavs, so let's make one new happy country. And thus, with the union of these two large territories, the kingdom of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes was formed. Now this country is often called as Yugoslavia, first Yugoslavia, Yugoslavia 1. And after World War II, there is another country formed, another nation formed, that was called Yugoslavia 2nd. This newly formed kingdom composed of different traditions, religions, nations, languages and scripts, and it was mainly dominated by Serbs. Why? Because first, Serbs were in majority. Most number of the people was Serb, around 40% population was Serbs, 35 to 40%. Secondly, the army was of Serbia. So all the important military positions were held by Serbians, and also the administration was mainly dominated by the Serbs. So you can say the entire country administration was mainly Serb dominated, and this was a cause of problem later because Croatians were not very happy with this. In this map, you can see the area, the new country that was formed. Yugoslavia, the name it held, Yugoslavia literally means the kingdom of the Southern Slavs. Okay, the name Yugoslavia itself means the area of the Southern Slavs. So this kingdom existed happily from 1918 to 1941 when World War II came to its doorstep. So in World War II, Germany and Italy, they attacked Yugoslavia. So it was attacked by the Axis powers, and this occupying force, it broke the kingdom into different states. They did not want a united strong kingdom. So all these nationalities, Croats, Slovenes, they were broken into different territories. Croatia, it became independent. Already since 1930s, Italy was trying to break away Croatia as an independent country. Again and again, Italy was telling to Croatians that why are you serving under these Serbs? Serbs are very powerful in the government. What are you getting out of this Yugoslavia? Nothing. Break away. Make your own country. Finally, they succeeded during World War II when they attacked and defeated Yugoslavian army, and Croatia became independent. As soon as it became independent, it started murdering Serbs and also Jews. So there was this militia formed. It was called Ustashi militia. It was a fascist militia. So it followed the policies of Hitler and Mussolini, the fascist rulers of Germany and Italy. And they conducted genocide of Serbs. Thousands and thousands of Serbs as well as Jews were killed by these Ustashi militia. So this Croatian government that worked during the World War II, the independent Croatian government, this gave its full support to this Ustashi militia. And this genocide of Serbs during World War II was a long-lasting memory, and people did not forget it easily. Later on, it became a cause of problem. Okay, and who were these Serbs? They were the Serbs who were living in Croatia. If you are confused right now, don't be. I will show you a map, a detailed map of all these ethnicities. You will understand it better at that time. Now, against this occupation force, there arose a local resistance. People took up arms. There were local militias formed. So Serbs started fighting this occupying force as well as the Croatian Ustashi militia. These people were communists. Then there were some royalists. Royalists mean people who want the king to come back. As soon as the Axis powers had invaded, the king fled to London. Okay, the royal family fled to London. So there were these royalists and communists. They were continuously fighting the Axis powers. In 1945, Germany, Italy, they were defeated by the Allies, and here also in Yugoslavia also the communists and royalists defeated in their guerrilla warfare campaign. They defeated the occupying Axis force, and thus in 1945, after the end of Second World War, a socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia was formed, because mainly the communists had become very powerful. They had won this battle, the guerrilla warfare battle, and they did not let the king come back to power here. So the king, who had come back from London thinking that I will go and sit on my throne easily, he was not allowed, and thus this Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia was formed. USSR was very supportive because they were very happy that okay, they are also communist, we are also communist, so one more area that will be in favor of us. And monarchy was abolished now. So remember this name, SFRY. I will use this as an abbreviation now in this lecture in the future. SFRY simply means that Yugoslavia. Okay, so this is the second Yugoslavia. The first one was a kingdom, there was a king, and this one now was a republic. There was a president, there was a government, and there was no king. SFR Yugoslavia existed from 1945 to 1992. It was actually a communist state and consisted of 6 socialist republics. So just like USSR, where there were different socialist republics, here also there are 6 republics. The first is Bosnia and Herzegovina. Second one is Croatia. This is Croatia. Third is Macedonia here. Fourth is Montenegro. Fifth is Serbia. And sixth is Slovenia. So these are the 6 socialist republics. We have already seen the maps, and roughly as of today, the borders of the new countries that are formed now, they are similar to these old republics. So these republics, you can see, this is not a very cohesive state. These are different nationalities, people who are speaking different languages. Although everyone is Slavs, all these are Slavs, but still there are many differences among them. And these differences will later on lead to the breakup of the country. So these socialist republics were called like this: Socialist Republic of Slovenia, SR of Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina. 2 autonomous regions existed in Serbia. This entire region is Serbia, and in this there was one northern province that was called Vojvodina. The full name is Serbian Autonomous Province of Vojvodina and Serbian Autonomous Province of Kosovo. So these two are provinces, but they have quite a lot of autonomy, and they also got a vote. So there was this central council where all the leaders of these 6 republics came together, and here the leaders of Kosovo and Vojvodina also had their representatives. So in all there were 8 members. Okay, Kosovo, Vojvodina and Serbia is the country, but they are part of Serbia. They are autonomous provinces but still part of Serbia. This newly formed country of Yugoslavia was a one-party state. There was only one party, there were only communists. All the other parties were thrown out of power. They were all suppressed by this communist nation, and it was basically a dictatorship of Josip Tito, and he talked about brotherhood and unity. Why? Otherwise this nation would have broken apart any time. They wanted to stay together, and the slogan that was given by Tito was of brotherhood and unity. So this is Josip Broz Tito. He was a communist revolutionary who had fought against the Axis occupation during World War II. And as soon as the war was over, he was the person who formed the government. He became the prime minister, and later he became the president. And he then said that I will be the president for lifelong. There will be no new president now. It will be a one-party state, and it will be a dictatorship. So he was in power effectively from 1945 till 1980 when he died. So in this long period of time, almost 35 years, he ruled over Yugoslavia with an iron hand. He is often called as a benevolent dictator. What do you mean by benevolent? It means he was not as cruel as someone like Stalin or Hitler. He was also a dictator. There was no democracy. There is no full-fledged democracy. Okay. Communist Party members are chosen and they send their representative. It is a representative government, but it is not a democracy like India. Every common citizen does not get a vote. But he was a very popular public figure in Yugoslavia as well as abroad. He had good relations with everyone. He was viewed as a unifying symbol in the country because he gave the slogan of brotherhood and unity. His mother was a Slovenian, his father was a Croatian. He was of a mixed ethnicity and he considered himself to be a Yugoslavian. He said that I am not a Croat or I am not a Slovenian, I am just a Yugoslav. I am a Yugoslavian. His internal policies maintained the peaceful coexistence of all these social republics, the 6 republics, and he also suppressed the nationalism. He could maintain them in coexistence because of the suppression of nationalism. He did not let any nationalistic feelings come to the front. If there was any rally by Croatians who said that we want our new country, a different country, he cracked down very hard on them. There was no space given to nationalism, nationalistic feelings in this ethnicity, various ethnicities. If you want any nationalistic feelings, there should only be nationalism for Yugoslavia. No Croatia, no Macedonia, nothing. During the Cold War period that started right after the World War II, Yugoslavia was supporter of USSR initially. They were with the Eastern Bloc. But soon they became non-partisan. In 1948, Tito had a fallout with Stalin. He did not like Stalin or his policies. Why? Because Stalin was putting up all his puppet governments in Eastern Europe. He put up governments and people whom he liked in all the governments of these Eastern European nations. And he was trying to do the same in Yugoslavia. Tito was a strong personality himself. He did not tolerate this. He said that I will rule Yugoslavia according to me. You don't interfere here. He told this to Stalin. But Stalin was trying to bring some changes so that the government of Yugoslavia is very much a puppet government. Finally, they had a fallout in 1948 and since then they did not support USSR. But they also did not go to the Western Bloc. They did not support America. They became one of the founder members of non-aligned movement. In 1960, these are the founder members who founded NAM. So in 1960, this conference took place and our Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, the President of Ghana, President Nasser of Egypt, this is Sukarno of Indonesia, and here is our man Tito. Despite staying neutral during this Cold War period, he somehow got aid from both Eastern and Western blocs. So his diplomacy was very strong and very smart. He tried to play both the Eastern and Western blocs off each other and got financial aid from both of them. Now I will discuss the various ethnic and religious groups and their distribution in Yugoslavia. This map shows the different ethnic groups that were living in Yugoslavia. So we will start from the northernmost area, that is Slovenia. People living in Slovenia are called Slovenes. So they are ethnically Slovenes and the most common religion there is Roman Catholic. They are all Roman Catholics. They follow the Pope who lives in Vatican. He is the head of the Roman Catholics. Alright. Then coming to Croatia. Croatia people are called Croats or Croats. They are also Roman Catholics. So remember these two northern republics, people here are mainly Roman Catholics. But Croatia you see has another color here. This is a different shade. So this purple or violet colored people, they are Serbs. So there are large number of Serbs living in Croatia. So Serbs are living in Croatia, in Bosnia as well as Serbia. Serbia you can tell by name only, the name itself is Serbia. So there will be Serbs here. But in Bosnia and Croatia as well, there is a large population of Serbs. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, there are three large different groups. The purple colored, these are the Serbs. Then the second group that you see here in green color, these are Muslims and they are called as Bosniaks. Okay, they are called ethnicity. Their ethnicity is what? Bosniaks or Bosnians. And the religion they follow is Muslims. Serbs are Eastern Orthodox. So all the purple colored area that you see, that is Eastern Orthodox. They follow the Eastern Orthodox. There was a schism in the church. There was a large divide in the Christianity. In 1054 AD, the religion split into Western and Eastern branches. So the Western branch, they are called as Roman Catholics today, the followers of the Western branch, and the followers of the Eastern branch, they are mostly found in Russia and the Eastern European countries today, and they are called as Eastern Orthodox members, Eastern Orthodox Church. Okay, so Serbia, you can see Serbs, they are Eastern Orthodox. Slovenia and Croatia were Roman Catholic. So two groups, and the third group here in Bosnia is Croats. So Croats, Bosniaks and Serbs. These are the three groups here in Bosnia. Coming to Serbia, Serbia is largely dominated by Serbs, Eastern Orthodox religion, but there is a small population here in Kosovo. Kosovo, the people living here are called Albanians. They are ethnically Albanians, but the religion they follow is Islam. And then coming to Montenegro, people living here, they are ethnically called Montenegrins, and the religion that they follow, Eastern Orthodox again. So Serbia and Montenegro both are majority Eastern Orthodox. Even Macedonia has mostly an Eastern Orthodox population, but there is a large population, the large minority of Muslims also. Have a look at this map, pause the video. I have tabulated all this information here. So see, ethnic group, Serbs, the religion they follow is Eastern Orthodox. They are found in entire Yugoslavia, but mainly Serbia. Then Bosniaks, they follow Islam, country or region, Bosnia. Third group is Croats, Roman Catholic, Croatia and Bosnia. Albanians, Islam, Albania and Kosovo. Okay, so Albania is a different country. It was not part of Yugoslavia. Remember, okay, it is not a part of Yugoslavia, but Albanians are living in Kosovo as well. And Kosovo is a part of Serbia. Remember, it is an autonomous province. Then Slovenes, they are Roman Catholics. They live in Slovenia. And then Montenegrins, they are Eastern Orthodox followers. Which region are they found? Montenegro. Then this map shows according to the religion. Whichever religion is in majority, that is colored, the countries are colored according to that. So the northern republics, Slovenia and Croatia, dominated by Roman Catholics. So that is why they are dark colored. Then lighter colored area are Eastern Orthodox. So Serbia, Montenegro and Macedonia, Eastern Orthodox. But two regions are predominantly Muslim, that is Bosnia, Herzegovina and Kosovo. So can you appreciate how complex this situation is? There can be one religion and two different ethnicities. For example, the people living in Bosnia, they are called Bosniaks. Their culture, their traditions are different from the people living in Kosovo. Both are Muslim, both are followers of Islam, but Kosovo has its own different tradition, and these are Albanians. They are ethnically Albanians. They are very much similar to people living here in Albania. So Bosniaks and Albanians, they are both Muslim, but their culture is different. They are ethnically different. Okay, so that is why this situation has become very complex. Have a look at these maps once again. Pause the video if you want to understand this map. Look at it very closely. So this will help you in understanding the wars that will come now, the Yugoslav wars. Now we will discuss the downfall of this great nation of Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. It went very strong till Josip Broz Tito was alive. In 1980, he died, and after his death, this presidency was made decentralized. It was a rotating presidency. What these socialist republics said, that 1 year the president of SR Serbia will be the president of entire Yugoslavia. Next year it will be Croatia's turn. After that it will be Slovenia's turn, and so on. So you can see the position of president will become powerless. He knows he is going to be changed next year. So this made politically the country was made weak. Then economy suffered badly. During 1980s, entire Eastern Europe had a very bad economy. Even USSR was going through an economic crisis. But Mikhail Gorbachev started perestroika and glasnost policy over there. Here, IMF said that we will give you loans to stop your economic depression, but you have to start some reform process. Okay, and these reform process were not at all successful here in Yugoslavia. They caused more unemployment and there was hyperinflation. The inflation went so bad that by 1992 they were printing notes of 500 billion dinar. Dinar was the official currency. So they were producing notes of 500 billion dinar, somewhat similar to what Zimbabwe is doing today. So the inflation and the unemployment, this affected the entire country. People became dissatisfied with the government. They started protesting. They started finding faults with the structure of the political structure of the country. And this led to the rise of ethnic nationalism. All these federal republics, the federal states, they were now seeing rallies such as the Croatians were saying that we want to become independent. Why should we suffer because of the policies of the government in Belgrade? There was also an economic dispute between the various republics. There was wide income disparity between northern and the southern Yugoslavian republics. Serbs wanted greater centralization so that they could use state power to redistribute wealth from the northern republics to the southern republics. So areas like Kosovo, Serbia, they were not very rich. There was less economic development in these areas. On the other hand, Slovenia and Croatia were very much developed, more developed than the other parts of the country, and they wanted greater decentralization. They wanted more power at the state level so that they could undertake the IMF reforms, and these reforms will help their government in reducing the debt, improving the economy, and opening the markets furthermore. So they saw that these IMF reforms are an opportunity, they are a great opportunity, and the southern republics will not do everything that is required of them. So there was this incompatibility in the thoughts. There were two reform agendas, and this was also a big argument that led to the wars. The final nail in the coffin was the rising nationalism. Kosovo was an autonomous province of Serbia. 90% of its population was Albanian, ethnically Albanian, religion is Islam. Kosovo was a very poor area, it did not have much economic development, and these Serbians blamed Kosovans for the entire economy. They said that you are causing this downfall, you don't have jobs, there is unemployment in Kosovo, so people are coming and taking our jobs, and Kosovo is basically responsible for all the economic troubles of the country. So very funny, I find it very funny today, with such a small area responsible for the economic downfall of the entire nation. No, it was not possible. On the other hand, the Kosovans started asking for greater political rights. They said that you are not developing us, you are not giving us the full funds that are required because our position is of an autonomous republic. We are an autonomous region in Serbia. We are not a complete republic. So when they started demanding their political rights, the Yugoslavian government cracked down very hard. They started killing people, shooting people who came for protests. There were miners, in a very famous case, miners sat down for a protest in the mines for many days and army was sent against them. So all these troubles started here in Kosovo, and finally the troubles ended also here in Kosovo only in 1999. And this I am talking about late 80s or mid 80s. This was sometime around 86, 87 that all this was going on. When Kosovans were protesting, the president of Social Republic of Serbia, he sent his right hand man Slobodan Milosevic. He was a Serb leader. He was sent to stop all these protests to find a political solution. Now Slobodan Milosevic, instead of getting a solution to this problem, he started using Kosovo as a political tool to further his own interest. He wanted to capture power in Serbia. So he started further enraging the Serbs. He told the Serbs there that yes, the Kosovans are the cause for the problems in economy. These Kosovan people are the root cause of everything, the economic troubles in the country. We should remove them. He started giving such kind of speeches, and he became very popular, and in all the Serbs. Okay, he became very popular in the Serbian people, and he installed his puppets or allies as presidents of Vojvodina, Kosovo and Montenegro within few years. So by 1980, this started in 86, and by 89, he had installed his allies or his puppets in Vojvodina, Kosovo and Montenegro, and he himself became the president of Socialist Republic of Serbia in 1989. So this is Slobodan Milosevic, and he is very important figure in these Balkan wars. Now Milosevic has a voting bloc. What do you mean by voting bloc? He has his puppet presidents in Vojvodina. He himself is president of Social Republic of Serbia now, Kosovo and Montenegro. So in all these four regions, he has his vote. Now when the council meets, all the 8 presidents of Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, they all meet, he has 4 votes out of 8. So he can effectively stop any kind of new reform, any new proposal that is brought in. Using his voting bloc, 4 out of 8, in the central committee, he tried to centralize power. He tried to get more and more power. The reason, he wanted the economy of Slovenia and Croatia to cross-subsidize the other parts of Yugoslavia so that everyone is equally rich. He also cracked down very hard on the striking Albanians in Kosovo. Remember the miners' case? He sent army and police against them. So Slovenia and Croatia were not very happy with this situation. Firstly, they wanted more autonomy so that they could manage their economy in their own manner. They could get more money from IMF, and they were also against this hard crackdown tactics of Milosevic. They said that Milosevic is starting to behave like a dictator and this is not good. What if tomorrow we are not happy with his decisions? Will he send army against us as well? So all these reasons led to a Congress. 14th Congress was called a Special Congress of the League of Communists of Yugoslavia in January 1990. The communists used to meet from some time, but this was a special meeting that was called by Milosevic, and this voting bloc again, they started blocking other republics, and this led to the complete failure of the Congress. Whatever Slovenia and Croatia tried to bring new policies or new reforms, everything was blocked by this voting bloc of Milosevic. Finally, Slovenian and Croatian delegates walked out of the meeting. It was a very historic event because until now, no such walkout had happened in the history of Yugoslavia. Always these meetings went on very smoothly, and for the first time, one republic or two republics had walked out of this meeting. And when they walked out, the world knew, the country knew that now Yugoslavia cannot stay together. Something will change. Slovenia and Croatia are not very happy. Right after this meeting, they all decided to hold elections, separate multi-party elections. Until now, this was a one-party state, but now they will hold multi-party elections where most communists were defeated. They were holding power in the country since 1945, since the time of Tito, but now they were all defeated by nationalist party. These nationalist parties came to power. Why did elections go on during 1990? Because in 1990, all the countries of Eastern Europe, USSR, they were all disintegrating. Elections had happened everywhere in Europe, and most of these places had seen fall of communist governments. The entire world was seeing the downfall of communism, and Yugoslavia was no different. The communist countries, the communist economies were no longer viable. 500 billion notes could not be produced forever. The economy was going downhill. That is why they held elections and fresh governments were formed everywhere. But in these elections, who came to power? Everywhere, nationalist parties came to power. So with these nationalist parties coming to power, the Yugoslav war phase will start. They started in 1991, finished in 2000, and the phase 1 is the war in Croatia and Slovenia. During these elections in Croatia, Franjo Tudjman came to power. That is how his name is pronounced, Franjo Tudjman. He was a nationalist Croatian leader. He said that I will stand against Milosevic's actions, what he is doing in Albanians, what he is doing in Kosovo, he can never do with us as long as I am living. So I will protect the Croatians from the atrocities of the Serbian people, from the Serbs who are dominant in the Yugoslavian government. He started adopting old symbols and old flags of Ustashi. Remember that militia who had done genocide of Serbs? So this Ustashi flag was adopted as the flag of Croatia, and he promised to protect Croatia from Serbia. This checkered flag was a very bad thing. It brought back bad memories to all the Serbs who were living in Croatia, and they started protesting against the policies of Franjo Tudjman, this new government. So they started revolt in whichever regions they had majority. They blockaded roads and they declared themselves independent. So if you remember our old map, this is the area where Serbs are living. The ethnic Serbs, they are living in Croatia. So although Croatia, the ethnicity of majority of the people are Croats, but some Serbs are also living, and they are living mostly on the border regions. Alright. So Serbs will never want to go in a government in an independent Croatian country which is completely cut off from Serbia. They said that if you ever become independent, we are not going with you. We want to remain with Yugoslavia. We want to remain with a Serb majority dominating government because Serbian people are our people. We want to be with them. You can never ensure our security. And in this city, mainly the city of Nin, they captured this entire city, and slowly war broke out. And so these Serbs started capturing multiple cities in Croatia. They were very successful initially, and the Croatian army, the Croats, despite being in majority, they were pushed back. And in this war, the Yugoslavian army, that is the national army of the country, not just the Serbians, this is the national army. They supported these rebels, they supported the Serbs, and with the help of this Yugoslavian army, they were able to capture so many cities. You may wonder, why is the Yugoslavian army helping them? The reason is that army consisted mainly of Serbian officers. Most of the officers, they were Serbs, because there was a tradition in Serbia that you have to serve in military. It was considered a very proud thing to do so, and most of the people who were serving long time, there were other members also, there are all the ethnicities are serving in the army, but Serbians considered to be a matter of pride, and they stayed back. They did not take retirement, they did not take early retirement, so most of the senior officers in the army were Serbs. That is why this Yugoslavian army started supporting the rebellious Serbs in Croatia. They are called Croatian Serbs. On the topic of Croatia, this is the city of Dubrovnik in Croatia that stands in for King's Landing in Game of Thrones. Just a fact that I thought that you should know. This is Dubrovnik here, okay. It is situated in the southern part of Croatian coast. Coming back to our story. Referendums for independence in Slovenia and Croatia. As I told you, there was the breakdown in that 14th Congress. The Slovenians and the Croatian delegations had walked out and they were having some troubles regarding economic policies. So Slovenian people asked for a referendum. What is a referendum? People voting for independence. People of Slovenia were asked, do you want to remain in Yugoslavia or you want to break away and form an independent country? So this referendum for the first time happened. The first country, the first republic which held its referendum was Slovenia, and the first one to break away from Yugoslavia was also Slovenia. So this happened in December 1990, the referendum, and Croatia also after a few months held its own referendum in 91. And after the result of these referendums, in June 1991, on the same day, both of them declared themselves to be independent from Yugoslavia. Soon after this declaration, the Yugoslavian army was sent from the capital Belgrade. The government at Belgrade, they said that this is unacceptable. How can we let a part of our country become independent, secede? So they sent the army. The Yugoslavian army attacked Slovenia, but amazingly this army was repelled by the Slovenians in a very short war. It is now called as the 10-day war. So Slovenians raised their own militias, their own armies, and they defeated the Yugoslavian army. Although this Yugoslavian army was not in its full force, it was only a small force that was sent, but still it was defeated. Thus, Slovenia was the first to gain independence without much bloodshed. Only a short war, not many people died in this. When this war started in Croatia, the Serbs were now fighting the Croats, and now the Slovenia has broken away. European countries started getting worried, and they called a peace conference at Hague in Netherlands. And European countries said that we have not seen warfare since World War II. It has been 45 years that we are living peacefully. Why are you fighting now? All the 6 head of states, the republics of Yugoslavia, they were called, and there was a meeting held. Here, Milosevic originally said that yes, I will accept the independence of Slovenia. But the others also started saying that now we will also become independent. So this was unacceptable to Milosevic. He was not happy with it. He wanted a joint Yugoslavia, but dominated by Serbs. So this conference was ultimately unsuccessful. But after this conference, more or less Slovenia was considered independent by the government of Belgrade, by Milosevic. He said that okay, Slovenia is gone. We don't care about it. Let Slovenia and Croatia declare themselves independent. It's fine. So in 1991, Slovenia has now become independent. Croatia is now independent. What remains of Yugoslavia? The remaining 4. Alright, so this is Yugoslavia, Bosnia is remaining, Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia. Meanwhile, the Yugoslav People's Army, which is abbreviated as JNA, again JNY, so that is why National Army. So this army was helping the Croatian Serbs. And that is why these Serbs were very successful in the war against the Croats, and they captured many Croatian cities initially. When Macedonia saw all this fighting going on in Croatia, Slovenia, Macedonia said that we don't want this. This is chaos fighting. We didn't sign up for this. They simply decided to exit via referendum. So in September 1991, a referendum was held, and all the people of Macedonia, more than 90% people voted for an exit from the country. And thus, without any war, without any bloodshed, Macedonia peacefully exited Yugoslavia. So now 3 countries are gone: Slovenia, Croatia and Macedonia. Okay, Macedonia is here. Now it is also independent. What remains? This is remaining of the country of Yugoslavia. This area is differently colored because now there is war going on in 1992 that I will discuss now. war will start in Bosnia as well. And you can see this region, this was held by the Serbs who are living in Croatia. So Croatia, although it is independent, but it does not have control over all of its territory. A large part of its territory is captured by Serbs and they are having control over it. Now we come to Bosnia, the third and the most brutal war. This is the conflict that everyone remembers. This is the one that you will see in movies because the most bloodshed happened in Bosnian War. The genocide happened in Bosnian War. Why it happened here? Because of the religious and ethnic mix. Other countries, there is one large group, one small group. But here there are three large groups. The first is the Bosniak Muslims. They are shown in green. Now this map is a very detailed map. This is based on the census of Yugoslavia. So this is based on the government census. And it shows the areas or the districts that are having majority of the Bosnians as green colored. Now although area wise you will see that green color area is less and blue is more, but the population of Bosniak Muslims was more. Okay, so these are more populated areas, these are sparsely populated areas. So Serbs are 31% in blue color, and then the third group is Croats or the Croats, they are in orange color. So this is Croatia here. If you remember, they had a long coastline which cuts off Bosnia entirely. Now I have a question for you. Is Bosnia a landlocked country? Does it have access to sea coast? Go back in the lecture if you want to check the map closely. Okay, or just open Google Maps in your phone and check it. Now coming back to our map. So there are three ethnic groups. Somewhere statistics say that there were 43% Bosniak Muslims when this war broke out. Somewhere it says 51%. You can just say that half of the population is Bosniak Muslims. Ethnically they are Bosniaks and the religion that they follow is Islam. Okay, Serbs, which religion are the Serbs following? Eastern Orthodox. And then there are Croats. Which religion are Croats following? Roman Catholic. So three different ethnicities, three different religions. So Bosnia can be called a microcosm of the entire Yugoslavia. Microcosm means it gives you the picture of entire country in one republic. And this is the reason that this war was brutal in Bosnia, because there are three different groups. They are all they have a sizable population. Okay. The events start in October 1991 when they saw that Croatia and Slovenia have declared themselves independent. Why not us? We should also become independent. That is what all the members of the parliament said. So the Croats and the Bosniak Muslims voted to make Bosnia independent, but they were opposed by the Serbs. Now Serbs are more than 30% in the population. They said that we will never leave Yugoslavia. We will stay with our Serbian brothers. So these Bosnian Serbs led by Radovan Karadzic, they left the parliament and established a Serbian autonomous region wherever they had a majority. Just like the Croatian Serbs, they also started fighting the government and they established their own autonomous region, and this autonomous region was called Republika Srpska. I have highlighted it. It means it is important. The name Radovan Karadzic is also important and Republika Srpska is also important. It is a very strange name. It is actually an abbreviation in the local language which you are not required to know. So this Republika Srpska was established by January 1992 and they wanted to stay in union with Serbia and Montenegro. Bosnia held a referendum and declared its independence from Yugoslavia in March 1992. So the remaining people, the Croats and the Bosniak Muslims, they held this referendum. The Serbs did not vote in this, they boycotted it. So all this was happening in the early part of 1992. So now you see there are two different and distinct groups. On one hand, we have Croats and Bosniaks who want independence from Yugoslavia. On one hand, on the other hand, we have Bosnian Serbs. But what happens is when fighting breaks out, Croatians also start demanding that we also want our own different countries. They said that, see, we are powerful here, we will also form another country, or we will join with Croatia. We'll do something of that manner. But after fighting for some time among themselves, the Croatians and Bosniaks, they said that, okay, let's not fight, we will stay together and we have to fight the Serbs as well. So this war began in April 1992 and ended in late 1995. For almost 4 years, this conflict went on. It was the most brutal of all the Yugoslav wars. Why? Because soldiers and civilians were targeted alike. There was no difference made in soldiers and civilians. Also, there were a lot of gangs formed. They were not like gangs of Vasipur, but these gangs were mostly like militias. Because the economy was so bad, there was a lot of looting going on. Everyone who had a gun, he started forming his own militia. They started looting the various stores, the businesses, and this was encouraged by the armies or the other soldiers. Although these were not regular soldiers, but they were sought, their help was sought because they needed as many men as they could muster. So all this made war crimes very much common, because these people who are not trained professional soldiers, most of the time they are the ones who commit the war crimes, not the trained and professional ones. Also, there was a large number of foreign fighters who came into Bosnia. The war cry of jihad was given by people in Afghanistan. So all these groups like Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, they said that now Afghanistan war is done. Okay, we have fought the Soviets for a long time. Let us now go to Bosnia. So a lot of fighters went to Bosnia, and they started to radicalize the people of Bosnia. The earlier Bosniak Muslims, they were not very radicalized, but during this war, a large amount of radicalization was done. During this war, when the mosques were destroyed, Saudi Arabia gave them money. A lot of Wahhabi and Salafi preachers came into Bosnia. So all this was going on during the 1990s. Such bloodshed had been last seen on European soil during World War II. After World War II, no fight had occurred on European soil, and this made the European countries worry. They thought that this can spread to other countries like Hungary, Poland, all the Eastern European countries that had just come out of communism. So this war could spread over, if the war spreads over there, there could be another world war, who knows. So this was a very complex situation for Europe. And all the European countries were under pressure to do something. They did not know what to do, but they had a pressure of doing something to stop the war. The JNA, that is the National Army, they helped the Serbs here also against the Bosnians. So everywhere they will help the Serbs, because the army is mostly comprised of Serbian officers. They helped the Croatian Serbs, and now they help the Bosnian Serbs. So you can see this is a building burning here, and this soldier is kicking civilians who are prostrating in front of him. They have no weapons, nothing, but still he is going to kick them. So these are all militias and gangs that had formed, and that is why this war became very brutal. Another aspect of this brutal war was the siege of Sarajevo, where it went on for around 4 years. Sarajevo is the capital of Bosnia, and it is a city that is surrounded by hills. So who was living in Sarajevo? Mostly Bosnians. It was under the control of Bosnians, the Bosniaks, and it was surrounded by Serbian forces. So they continuously shelled this city from the mountains. They attacked via snipers and artillery weapons, and for 4 years the people of Sarajevo were in a living hell. More than 10,000 people died here, and you can see this is the government building of Sarajevo, the capital government building, that is burning due to the artillery shelling. And this siege was not successful. Ultimately, the Bosniaks were successful in holding off the Serbians, because they had this airport and a small area from where supply came in. Okay, this is the Free Bosnian Territory, so the supplies came in from here. United Nations sent its peacekeeping forces, and they declared an arms embargo on Bosnia and Herzegovina in early 1992. In fact, this embargo was for entire Yugoslavia. In 92 only all these sanctions were put up. What do you mean by an arms embargo? No weapons manufacturer in the world can sell its weapon to Serbian government, to the government of Bosnia, or to the Bosnian Serbs who are fighting the Bosniaks. This war also saw a lot of ethnic cleansing in entire areas or regions, which made the drawing of ethnic boundaries better to claim territory in future. What do I mean by this? Let's say there is this city. It has blocks. For simplification, instead of neighborhoods, I am making blocks here. In this city, there are majority Bosnians living, okay, Bosniaks. But there are two neighborhoods in which Serbs are living, and let's say there is one neighborhood where Croats are living. So in this war, what happened was, Bosnians will try to remove the Serbs from their area, and the Croats will also be removed forcibly, and this will lead to the entire city becoming a Bosniak city. So in future, no Croat or no Serb can say that yes, we had some historical claim to this city. This Bosniaks, if there is ever a peace agreement, the Bosniaks will get the city completely to themselves. This is ethnic cleansing. In simple words, forcing out people on the basis of their ethnicity, their culture, and forcing them out of their ancestral place or their homes. So there was a lot of ethnic cleansing. There are other methods of cleansing, like you continuously bomb or shell some area, people will automatically go out of their homes. They will not stay in a place which is continuously bombed for many days. And ethnic cleansing, the worst form of ethnic cleansing is killing people. That is termed as genocide, where instead of pushing people out of that area, you simply kill them. So there was a lot of genocide going on in this Bosnian War, and mass graves have been found. Now these corpses are undergoing DNA test so that it can be determined which ethnicity they belong to. Again, ethnic cleansing. In this slide I have shown you some photographs here. It is the forced removal of an ethnic group to make an area ethnically purer, to increase percentage of majority in state. As I explained in that example, if the entire city becomes a Bosniak city in future, no Croat or no Serb can say that we were living there. Alright. So the ethnic cleansing was done by both the sides in this war, not just one side. You don't need to remember these examples, just have a look at the pictures. This is how ethnic cleansing looks. People are forced with all their luggage, all the people, they are on tractors, truck, or if they don't find anything, they just have to walk. What do you mean by genocide? Genocide is the deliberate killing of a large group of people, especially those of a particular nation or ethnic group. The worst example of genocide in this war was the genocide at Srebrenica. Srebrenica was a city in Bosnia. It was attacked by Serbs in July 1995. It became one of the most notorious massacres of the war after a video was discovered. 8,300 Bosniak Muslims were killed by the army of Srpska. Remember that Srpska Republic that was formed initially under Radovan Karadzic. So the army of Srpska murdered all the boys between age of 12 and 65 who could fight. They were of fighting age. So they took out all the boys and the men. All the women and the old men and the young children were left behind, and 8,300 Bosniak Muslims were killed here. This was a mass grave that was found, and this is the cemetery that where all the people are buried. The important fact here is that this village was UN protected. United Nations often in war zones make some protected areas. What is this protected area? Let's say there is a war going on in this entire region. So United Nations will declare that there is a school here. Now if any civilian wants to come and stay, he can come and stay in this school area, and this will be a UN protected zone. No one will fire here. Okay, both the sides have to agree that no one will fire upon this area. So this UN protected zone or safe zones are mutually sometimes also by mutual agreements also sometimes these safe zones are made. For example, in the Sri Lankan civil war in 2009, the LTTE and the Sri Lankan army were fighting. So in the place called Kilinochchi, where the last fighting took place, there were schools that were designated as safe zones, but the Sri Lankan army shelled them with artillery weapons, and the reason that the army gave was that the LTTE fighters are using the safe zones to hide. They are hiding amongst civilians, so we don't have any choice. Firing on a UN protected zone or a safe zone is considered to be a war crime because you are firing upon civilians. This massacre happened when there were Dutch troops, they were the Dutch soldiers of the UN peacekeeping force. They just stood there and watched. They could do nothing, and this is a famous cartoon from that time that represents the condition of UN. It is like a tortoise that has been kept on its shell. It can do nothing. It is useless, unable. Later on, Radovan Karadzic was tried and convicted in 2016. Last year, the conviction came. He was tried and convicted for genocide and crimes against humanity at Srebrenica. This is Radovan Karadzic. He is the leader of the Republic of Srpska. He was the leader of Republic of Srpska. And since this verdict came out in 2016, it becomes important for the mains in 2017. If any question comes over war crimes or genocide, you can use this as an example. This trial went on at a special court established by the United Nations at Hague. This tribunal has nothing to do with ICC or ICJ. This is called International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, ICTY. This tribunal has been made specially for trying war crimes of Yugoslavian wars. Apart from Karadzic, this is Karadzic. This person was also arrested later and his trial is still going on. His name is Ratko Mladic. He was the army general. He was the leader of the army of this Republic of Srpska. That is, he was the leader of the Serbs, and he is also considered to be the mastermind behind this Srebrenica massacre. So in the coming years, in the coming months, maybe the trial of this person will be completed, and whenever it is done, again this topic will become very important. The Srebrenica massacre awakened the sleeping Western nations. NATO started a large-scale bombing campaign against the Serbs in Bosnia. So they started fighting on the side of the Bosniaks and the Croats. They did a bombing campaign against Serbs, and this bombing campaign was very successful. At the same time, I'm talking about 1995. So in 1995, the Croatian army also organized itself again. New weapons were bought, and since past 4 years, they were not very successful against the Serbs that were holding the autonomous territories. But now the Croatian army defeated and expelled all the Croatian Serbs in these autonomous regions. Again, there was ethnic cleansing. So earlier the Serbs did the ethnic cleansing, now the Croatians did the ethnic cleansing. Okay, so all the sides were guilty of war crimes here. Even the NATO bombs, they led to a lot of civilian death. So in a war, no one is a hero, no one is a villain. The above setbacks in Bosnia by the bombing campaign and the Croatia by the Croatian army, they brought the Serbs to negotiation table. And these Bosnian and Croatian Serbs were supported by Milosevic. Remember Slobodan Milosevic, the president of Republic of Serbia. Now he is the de facto ruler of Yugoslavia. He is controlling the government of Yugoslavia while all these wars are going on. So he was giving his support to his Serbian brothers in Bosnia and Croatia. Now finally he decided to come to the negotiation table, and this negotiation was held in a place called Dayton, which is in Ohio in USA. So that is why they are called Dayton Accords 1995. According to the Dayton Accords, in Bosnia there was ceasefire, no more fighting. The UN embargo was lifted so that aid can also come in, food materials can come in the war-ravaged country. And Bosnia was politically divided into two entities. What were these two entities? See, this region, the light pink colored area that you see here, that was under the control of Serbs. This is the Republic of Srpska that was formed under Radovan Karadzic. So it was given to them, Karadzic and the Serbs. So this was formed a separate entity. It will be called Republika Srpska. And other areas that were under the control of Croats or Muslims, they will now form Bosnia and Herzegovina. So even today, this political compromise is still going on, and the country that we know as Bosnia and Herzegovina, it is actually comprised of two different entities. One is the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina and other is Republika Srpska. In a map you won't see this line, but actually the country is divided like this. But all the currency, etc., everything is same. So they act like one nation, but two political entities which have huge autonomy. This political compromise is even going on till today, till 2017. This is the manner in which Bosnian government is managed. After this Dayton Accords, the US, British and French troops from NATO were sent to Bosnia to enforce this agreement so that no more fighting takes place. All the NATO troops went and stayed there for 4-5 years. They were there for almost 5 years. And there was a 3-member rotating presidency system. So there will be it will be a Serb president, the next president will be a Croat, and then the president will be a Bosniak. So this rotating system, just like Yugoslavia in 1980s, this was brought here as well. So that every ethnicity gets a chance at central government. Everyone becomes a president. So let's do a small recap. This was the country of Yugoslavia. Slovenia got its independence without much warfare, just the 10-day war. Croatia, it declared its independence in 1991, but this area was under the control of Serbs for a long time. But finally in 95, they expelled the Serbs and they also got their control over entire territory. Third country was Bosnia, where war broke out. Here also war started in 92 and the war was ended by Dayton Accords in late 1995. Macedonia had quietly slipped away in 91. They saw all the bloodshed that was going on. They did not want any of it. So they were also now independent. Montenegro and Serbia had historically been very close. Both of them have majority Eastern Orthodox population and they have good relations between them. So they did not want independence. Montenegro was completely with Serbia. So what remains of the old erstwhile Republic of Yugoslavia? This is Yugoslavia now. This is Yugoslavia. And in 1992, the name of this country was changed from Socialist Republic to just a Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. Now it is just FR Yugoslavia, because in the entire world, by 1991, communism was going down. USSR had also been broken into 15 different republics. So here also the socialist tag is given away. So Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Macedonia have achieved independence. Next is Kosovo. There will be problems in Kosovo. Montenegro stayed with them till 2006. Okay, Montenegro stayed with Serbia and they had a referendum in 2006, and quietly they also went away and formed their own country. Now again, Kosovo, the ethnic breakdown. Majority of the population is ethnically Albanian. What is the religion? Islam. But 10% of the population here is Serbian, especially in the north area. They are Serbs. And Kosovo is a province, an autonomous province of Serbia. Why is this region very important to Serbs? Is because in Eastern Orthodox religion, this place has a high importance. Many old churches of Eastern Orthodox are found here in Kosovo. That is why Serbians say that historically and culturally, Kosovo is our territory. We cannot let it go away and become an independent country. That is why they are against it. Coming to the Kosovo War, this war was actually fought in 98 to 99. So for a long time, there was no large scale conflict. But problem has been going on in Kosovo since 87. Remember, the Kosovans wanted more political authority, they wanted more political power, and they were suppressed by Milosevic. Now against the policies of the Serbs, there was an organization formed. It was a terrorist organization, Kosovo Liberation Army. This KLA led an insurgency against Yugoslavia, the government, since 1991. But till 98, this was not a large scale war. They were just doing some bomb attacks here and there or small attacks on the army, etc. So this KLA was active since 91, but it was not engaged in a large scale warfare. And throughout the 1990s, especially by 97, 98, when the war in Bosnia was done, the Serbs started paying their attention to Kosovo. They started to push out the ethnic Muslim Albanians from the Kosovo province. But how do you push out a population that is 90% majority? First, they removed all the Albanians from the jobs. Second, Albanian children were not given admission to school. They were said that you can no longer come to schools. All the schools were segregated. So such policies angered the Albanians, the Muslims living in Kosovo, and they started fighting back. The KLA increased its attack greatly by 1998. Also by this time, 10,000 Albanians had been killed by the Serbs. The Serbs were continuously the government was brutally cracking down on any kind of activity by the Albanian Muslims. And 40% of the population fled. They became refugees in nearby countries because of the policy of the Serbs. So there was a refugee crisis. There was a Kosovo refugee crisis. What is this? This is also ethnic cleansing. The Serbs were forcing out people. If you are attacked in your home every day, in your country, your religion is persecuted, what will you do? At one point of time, you will also decide that it's time to pack up and leave. That is what 40% of the population of Kosovo did. Most of them went to Albania or Macedonia. Some of them also went to Montenegro. When they went to Macedonia, they tried to form an autonomous republic here in 2001. So this many KLA members also had hidden in this Macedonia. They went and hid here in Macedonia. In 2001, they tried to start an insurgency in Macedonia, form an autonomous republic, but they were defeated here as well in 2001. The KLA started increasing its attack by 1998 and there were a lot of bombings, etc. Milosevic cracked down hard on the KLA members and around 2000 members of this organization were executed. They were found and they were killed, they were shot down. This all happened in 98. At this time, NATO decided to intervene. Now look at this very funny thing. In 1991, USA had declared KLA as a terrorist organization. As soon as it was formed in 91, because they were carrying out insurgency, terrorist attacks, USA said that KLA is a terrorist organization. But by 1998, in support of KLA, USA started bombing the Serbs. They started bombing Serbia. They bombed Milosevic. These airstrikes brought Milosevic to negotiation because a lot of infrastructure of Belgrade was destroyed. These bombings were very detrimental to the morale of the people, and many important buildings were bombed. You will see this common trend everywhere where USA goes. Even in Iraq and Syria, they do this. They find some moderate terrorist organization which they think is moderate. This is a picture showing a Serbian city. These bombing strikes brought Milosevic to peace settlement, and this agreement was signed in 1999. According to this agreement, Yugoslav army will leave Kosovo. There will be no more ethnic cleansing. The Yugoslav army will go back to Serbia. UN peacekeeping forces will be stationed in Kosovo to prevent further warfare. So entire Kosovo was divided according to sectors. So French, Italian, German, British and US armies were stationed here for many years. And substantial autonomy was given to Kosovo. These are the exact words of the peace agreement. So according to this interpretation, the Kosovans thought that we are independent. They assumed that this substantial autonomy means independence. So they say that we are independent from 1999. And in their parliament, officially they declared themselves independent in 2008. This declaration of independence was not very well received by Serbia. Serbia is still not happy that we will not allow Kosovo to break away into a separate province. They are adamant on it. And in the future, if there is any war in the Balkans, it will be because of this region. As of today, in 2017, about 110 countries have recognized its independence, Kosovo's independence. You have to tell me in comment section whether India and United Nations, whether they both have recognized Kosovo or not. Does India have an embassy in Pristina? Do we have an ambassador in Delhi who is the ambassador of Kosovo? Tell me in the comment section. So with this, we come to an end to the Yugoslav wars. Let's do a quick recap. The first country to become independent, Slovenia in 1991, 10-day war. Then Croatia again in 91. Macedonia without any warfare. That is why I have marked the star. Okay, it was a bloodless split in 91. Bosnia in 92 they declared, but the war went on for 4 years. So in 1996 finally there was peace. Federal Republic of Yugoslavia was made in 92. The name was changed. Socialist was dropped. Serbia and Montenegro. Now this country again changed its name to Serbia Montenegro in 2003. Montenegro finally said that okay, big brother, enough is enough. Now the time is ripe that even I should go and set up my own shop. So they also had a referendum in 2006, and by slight margin this referendum was passed. So Montenegro became independent in 2006. Kosovo, effectively they say that we are independent since 1999 because we were given substantial autonomy, but they declared themselves to be independent in 2008. So Macedonia and Montenegro became independent without any warfare. So this is the map that we see today. All these countries are independent. Kosovo's independence is disputed. Vojvodina is very much part of Serbia. It has its autonomy, but it is completely part of Serbia. Alright. Moving forward, what were the post-war changes in these countries? In 2000, Slobodan Milosevic, yes, he was still the president of Serbia or Yugoslavia. He called for elections, but unfortunately for him, Serbians voted him out of power. He refused to leave his presidency and give the power to the newly elected president. So the people took to the streets. They started protesting in front of the parliament, and it was also called as the bulldozer revolution because there was this one person who brought a bulldozer and said that if Milosevic does not leave presidency, I will take this bulldozer inside parliament building. So this is sometimes called as the bulldozer revolution. Finally, looking at the people's angry reactions, he decided that he will leave presidency. On the other hand, Croatians also voted out the nationalists in 1999. So you see, in both these countries where hyper-nationalism was going on, nationalism was toned down a little because both the countries now have a little bit moderate governments, you can say, or moderate presidents, not the hyper-nationalists. Milosevic was arrested on corruption charges in 2001, just few months after he was removed from presidency. USA said that if you deport Milosevic for trial at Hague, if you give him to us so that he can be tried for war crimes, we will give this new country of Serbia aid. Yugoslavia again, the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. It will be given financial aid only on the condition that Milosevic is given away. And the new president quickly put Milosevic on a plane to Netherlands. He was sent to Hague where his trial was going on, and in 2006 he died of an heart attack while this trial was going on. But he was charged with 66 counts of crimes against humanity or war crimes, and there were many other charges against him. And if he was alive, most probably he would have been convicted. But after his death, the charges were dropped. Coming to the last part of the lecture, you have studied the Balkan Wars now. Why do you think the wars happened? Was it only because of the ethnic differences? Was it just because of ethnic violence that war broke out between these countries? The answer is no. It was not only because of ethnic violence. It is mainly because of politics. Why? What is politics? Politics is where different groups of people, they try to capture power. And what does power give you? Power gives you access to resources. Whoever has the most resource, they will develop economically, financially, and even in social prestige. So everything revolves around access to resources. And these resources are with the people who are in power. That is, the government controls all these resources. So the various groups will try to achieve power. For example, Serbs, they were in the majority in the government, military, administration, everywhere. So they did not leave out much for other republics or other ethnicity or other ethnic people. That is why there was this reaction of other ethnicities to take power away from Serbs and give it to their people, to give it to their leaders. Alright. So just this is written here. Politics revolves around competition between groups for control of state in order to gain control over resources. Yugoslavia, groups is equal to ethnic groups. It could be anything. See, in India it is political parties because we have a democratic system. In other developing countries it could be political parties or it could be religious groups somewhere. Alright. War in Yugoslavia was not irrational violence fueled by ancient hatreds. All these communities, the Serbs, the Bosniaks, they had been living together with each other for centuries. In fact, 40% of the urban areas, they had a mixed population, and all these ethnicities living side by side, they even had marriage relations. It was not like that they lived in isolation from each other. They had very good relations. They had intermarriages, inter-ethnic marriages. So all this was going on before the wars started. So the reason for this war was political conflict over who gets what for the resources, and it emerged from the process of political and economic reforms. Do you remember the political structure of 80s? It was a complete failure after Josip Broz Tito died. So this political structure of 80s could not sustain the older system, and the politicians started fighting for power. There was a vacuum due to the death of Tito, and all these new nationalistic leaders, they wanted to fill that power vacuum. And the economic reforms failed. And due to this economic reforms failing, there was unemployment, there was hyperinflation. Due to the falling economy, everyone wanted access to resources, much more than before. In this scenario, the nationalistic leaders, they turned to nationalism for mobilizing public to support their own goals. See, true nationalism is to support a country, but the wrong kind of nationalism, it is only for self-sustenance, for fulfilling their own goals. Samuel Johnson, a famous writer, has written that patriotism is the last resort of a scoundrel. Whoever uses patriotism as a last resort for his own personal goals, personal political ambitions, he is not a true politician, he is a scoundrel. When this feeling of nationalism was fanned by the politicians, it created a security dilemma for the minorities living in Yugoslavia. Wherever any ethnic group was in minority, its security was threatened. Let's remember the example of Croatia again. Croatia, new government comes to power in 1991. They adopted the old symbols of the Ustashi, which reminded the Serbs of genocide. They said that we will do anything to protect our country from Serbs. We want a different, separate Croatia. Under such circumstances, the hyper-nationalism of Croats, the Serbian people living in Croatia, they felt threatened. That is why they took up arms, they established their own autonomous areas, and that is how the war started. So this happened everywhere. So this rising nationalism created this security dilemma, and this was also one of the causes of the wars. I hope you liked this lecture. Kindly give me your feedback in the comment section. If you think something was not good, please write it down so that I can improve in my lectures further. Thank you very much for watching this. Have a good